Hang on, Windows Media Player. We need Windows Media Player. Windows Media Player is important.
That's what I hear.
Yes. Okay. Right. Oh, God, we're going to get Hal around. That's because you've dragged the wrong fucking one over there. Right. Okay. Here we go then. Hey!
You've got to fight for what you want, for all that you believe. It's right to fight for what we want, to live the way we please. As long as we have done our best, then no one can do more.
Wow. Wow, that was a thing. That was our title sequence. Hello, boys and girls. Oh, look. Welcome to the Flash and Bane podcast. Sorry we're late. That's entirely my fault, I'm afraid. I was cooking and it took longer than I thought it was going to take, and I hadn't watched Doctor Who until I was going to eat, and still you're going to get fresh reactions. I'm Siobhan, hello, and with me, Eddie and Brian.
Hello.
Hello.
Eddie, you're looking particularly dead tonight, particularly Scottish in that respect.
Yeah, I'm looking very grey and pale. But yeah, that is a Scottish thing.
It
is, yeah.
I mean, that's. I'm going to be honest with you. It must be quite nice up there at the moment because that's your summer look, surely.
Oh, well, it's quite nice, apart from the fact that we've got Storm Kiara, which seems to be we can't. Yeah, so we're a bit more. It's raining, it's cold, it's damp. Yeah, typical summer. So I.
Yeah, no, I can see from my hair it got very wet. So I'm sort of at the moment. Brian, how's the weather for you?
We got 11 inches of snow from Wednesday night to Friday morning.
That's nice.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Okay.
No.
Right.
No. Winter Wonderland, my ass.
Right. Okay. There's some news. We've got my microphone's fallen over again. We've got some news. If I can remember what it is. Yes, Saturday nights. We're doing a second stream. Well, another stream. Except this one, Eddie, Brian, and myself, along with Adam Purcell from Staggering Stories, and the area of effect known as Spanky. The complex spatio-temporal event. Sorry, did you say so?
Yeah, Spanky's a one-off. Spanky's fun.
Yeah, Spanky.
The beloved sausage is joining us.
Yeah, the beloved sausage is with us, showing us the maple taste of sweet justice. We're doing the Marvel Heroes RPG. Hello, Christian. I'm so sorry we're late. So we're doing the Marvel Heroes RPG. Somehow I'm the games master, which I've only done a couple of times before, and it was years ago, and not on this system, so I'm making it up as I go along. But we're streaming it, so if you want to tune in, it's 8 p.m. GMT on Saturday nights on this Twitch platform thing. So there's that. I'm sure there was something else. Was there something else, guys?
Well, I can think of.
Brian's
thinking.
My thoughts are gone.
Well, you're going to be useful this afternoon, aren't you? Or this evening?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to go really well. Anyway, shall we do a thing? A really bad link thing?
Oh, please do.
Oh, this is great. Now from the world's BBC Television's Doctor Who, it's Doctor Who. Oh, that shut off very quickly, didn't it? Goodness me. Yes, so anyway, the 15th, possibly, Doctor Who has taken her friends back home for a 12-hour break or something like that. And
they got a shower and, shave and
quite.
get all cleaned up.
Yes, exactly. And then this thing appears, this gentleman appears in the TARDIS.
Was I the only one that thought that was the Dream Doctor when he first appeared?
No.
I so hoped it was, though. I thought it was going to be something. But no.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
The trouble with the Dream Lord is he's too much like the Valiard. Now, I know he comes from a different source, but he is the amalgamation of all the dark in the Doctor's thoughts. And that's the Valiard. And they have mentioned the Valiard since in the programme. I was wondering if this guy was possibly going to be a Guardian. And indeed, that's one of the things I liked about tonight's show.
No.
Well, we've had the monsters for so long. The gods are back now.
Yeah, he talked about the
Eternals?
Guardians.
The Eternals?
Yeah.
The Guardians.
Celestial Toymaker.
The Celestial Toymaker, yep. He's on the same level, which... Skipping ahead, I found the denouement incredibly unsatisfying. Oh,
Yeah,
I've
it
got
should
your
have been
tech,
longer.
and I've got my screwdriver. Ta-da, bye-bye.
Yeah,
To build up such a threat. And
Yeah,
then...
it was-
It needed to be longer when dealing with immortal beings from outside of time.
I don't think... I know, I don't necessarily agree with that. I personally think... It was just too easy.
Jedi Doctor didn't work for me. Just the whole thing around the flip. The screw
Oh
trying
no,
to came-
that we will allow. That's just because the Doctor. Over the years, they've done all sorts of different silly things like that occasionally. So I mean, come on, look at Pertwee in Ambassadors of Death. Transmutation of object, Miss Shaw.
That's allowed though. That's Pertwee.
We forgive Pertwee anything. Is that
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You have to. You really do.
Yeah, that's a James Bond Doctor. No, that's understandable.
Anyway,
I mean, he came up with Venusian Aikido. Come on.
Brian, what did you think of it? Tell us more.
Again, too condensed. Something like that needed more. I like the overall plot, the whole mental illness is bad deal. But then the whole dream gods and no, just more. Just string it out a little bit. Elaborate more. Show us why this guy is bad. Show us why this girl is in prison. Then throw the hammer down on top of us and pull it in as they're all evil.
This, you mentioned the mental health aspect of it. I was going to get to that later, but I thought that was, to an extent, slightly shoehorned in.
It didn't need to be there. There was nothing in the story that said it had to be there.
Well, the only thing was Ryan's mate. The fact his flat was a little bit untidy, which was unlike him. And the way he was doing the bolts and everything.
Without sleep.
Well, and he locks himself up, so there's agoraphobia there. But I thought it was that this time round, this was shoehorned as a big wedge at the end. Look, mental health is important.
It was mentioned at the start because the whole thing around Syria and Aleppo, that was a mental hospital. It's one of the world's first examples of that mental institution.
Remarkable.
And then it was all mentioned at the end, so it was kind of at the start and the end, and then it was incidental in the middle. So apart from the fact that they've got these two immortal Freddy Krueger dream stealers, nightmare stealers,
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't need
feeding
to
on
be there.
anxiety.
Who wrote this one? Was it just Chibnall or somebody else?
Chibnall and somebody else.
I'll have
It's
to
been
have a
that way
look.
for a couple episodes now.
Because I was going to say, if it was just Chibnall, okay, it looks like he works better with friends. I don't know. Eddie, your thoughts, please.
I thought this is promising. So it was the dark figure, and I was the same as Brian. I thought is this going to be the Dream Doctor or something, another big reveal, but it wasn't. But even the whole concept of two immortals, they're evil, they feed on dreams. It was like the mention of the Celestial Toymaker, the Guardians. It was like we're on that level. Good little classic Doctor Who reference. Then it kind of fell flat in the middle. It just the whole thing around how they escape. How they actually re-imprison the two immortals. It just, like Brian says, it just was too rushed. It was just far too rushed.
Yeah, and there was no struggle towards getting the thing to defeat them. It was just happened to be there that they picked up off camera, and turned up with. Hooray, we've got a MacGuffin.
They were too easy. They were too easily defeated. These are immortal creatures. One has been imprisoned for eons. The other one has been roaming roaming the universe for eons, and they were done and defeated within a few minutes.
No, I agree.
But I like the premise. Again, it looked
Yes.
lovely. The whole thing around the fingers coming off, I thought really creepy. And
That's going to freak out some kids.
That was
Yeah.
horrible. That just gives you the creeps, the crawls. But yeah, again,
That is the worst Wet Willy ever.
I knew someone was going to bring something like that up. Oh, dear. Ah, dear.
but the whole premise, like I said, it was maybe I'm being too forgiving on it as well, but as somebody that's suffered anxiety attacks and seen other people suffer anxiety attacks, the whole effort felt like it was some sort of condensed anxiety. The whole thing was an anxiety attack for somebody, but I didn't really get much out of it, to be perfectly honest. It started off promising. I liked the idea. It ticked a lot of boxes for me, but by the end of it, I was mulling it over and thinking, yeah, it was okay. Not the worst, not the best.
You know what I did like? We got some characterization for Yaz.
A little, yeah.
Yeah.
So
A little background history on her.
So I'm guessing that police officer is who made Raz want to be a police officer.
Did I miss
We
something?
guess.
Was Yaz bullied and was running away from home?
Yeah.
Right. So I missed that
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, but
Eh.
that was just mentioned on the side of the road with the copper at the end. We don't see it.
Yeah. Then just to satisfy myself and yourself, Brian, we get a mention of the timeless child again, and then we actually got to see her.
Yes, that was good. They went to the meta plot a little bit,
Yeah. More, please.
right? I mean, we got what, 2 more episodes? 3 more episodes?
3 more episodes. And then it's
And
going to
again-
kick off, apparently. I mean, I, as some of you know, I do suffer occasionally quite badly with my mental health. And I'm glad the subject was raised. But if you compare this story to Vincent and the Doctor, it's
There
they're
is
miles
no
apart.
comparison.
There's not,
Yeah.
This felt rough, ready, roughshod. I think the script could have done with another look at, another draft maybe.
That's my favourite historical.
This felt inconsequential.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the benchmark. That's exactly that. It's a very high benchmark to beat.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you could have just said that the girl was having nightmares because of the things she's seen. And boom, you got monsters popping out of her.
And then the whole thing around she defeated her fear, she conquered her fear, but again, all off camera. Then we go back, and then the monsters were for her. It was maybe another part would have a little bit more characterization, a little bit more history.
I think it would have certainly helped the mental health subplot.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Another episode. This seems to be what we're coming out with this week, this year, isn't it? It could have done with another episode.
Yep.
I'm going to go so far as to say that they could have gone with a full 20 episode run.
Of that particular.
Well, no, I mean in general. This entire season they should have done 20 episodes, not 10, not condensed it down.
They're struggling
to
to make the 11. For British TV, Doctor Who is probably the most complex show there is. It has a hell of a lot more money than it used to, and compared to the old show by that, percentage wise, but it's still not enough.
Just think how good it would have been if, with the flashback in time to actually the 2 planets, and rather than just talk about that in a cheap graphic, but that was actually shown.
Yeah, though I
Yeah.
have to admit
seeing the 2 planets go crazy.
that's only the 3rd time we've seen something like that. The first one was the animated map in Marco Polo. The second one, and forgive me if I get this wrong, there might be others, was the drawing by Chloe Webber in Fear Her.
Yeah.
And then there's this, which I thought was very Hitchhikers, but also felt very... Again, there was a feeling of the New Adventures to this. Just a hint of it. Okay, so well, Purcell liked it. Aren't you supposed to be getting ready to go to Heathrow? I'm just wondering. So they're off to Gallifrey, the convention over in Los Angeles. And when I met him this afternoon, he was buggering off this evening, but apparently not. He's decided to come and waste time here.
Hope there's no problems with his flight. Are you okay, Adam? Is Storm Kiara keeping you there? Or everything okay?
I've just said at Heathrow. He's
right.
Arrived. Oh God, you're watching this on your electric
Oh.
telephone or your pad, one or the other. He's got some good stuff to watch on the plane. Yeah. So this one did feel, to me, certainly felt unfinished and as a result rather inconsequential as a whole. It wasn't a grabber.
It wasn't as good as last week, but it was better than Orphan 55. I preferred it to Orphan 55.
Really,
Yeah.
do you? I still like Orphan 55 compared to this one.
The pacing is about the same for the two, but this just had a bit more meat to it.
Yeah, I
like
can
the
see that.
callbacks. I like the callbacks. I like the premise. I like the characters. It started well. I liked the message at the end. I thought that was handled really cleverly. The middle section was just rushed. It was just there. It never did. It didn't work.
I thought it sort of slow. It was a early beginning. Early beginning? What? Slow beginning. And the middle, it was starting to pick up some pace and whatever. And then, like I said, suddenly it's all over. And then there's this whole thing about mental health wedged onto the end.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's
And you
that could have
got to
been
see
better.
Some of Graham's fears too. The cancer coming back.
Yeah, I thought that might be a little bit raw for some people.
Well, you could tell from the look on the doctor's face when he was talking about it, she had no idea what to say to him.
No.
At all.
Yeah, that as well. So she goes to the terminal and says, I'm still socially awkward." So is that a reference to the fact that she's still getting over the regeneration? Or
It seems like it. Yeah, she hasn't quite got to grips with it. But that's nice to see that that's a Jodie quirk rather than talking a lot and being happy like Tennant and whatever. You know what I mean? That's a very quirky thing. I mean, apart from possibly Capaldi, I think I might have trouble seeing some of the others do that. New series ones to respond like that to.
I always thought Smith's Doctor was always a little bit socially awkward. The way that there was always that bit of the alien with him and misreading the situation.
But he was very good with empathy to a certain extent. Something like that, he'd have clicked straight away, I reckon, if Graham had said that to him.
Yeah.
But with Jodie, it was just, it's.
She relates to machines.
I thought that,
That brings out the engineer. Of this
She is an engineer, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a Java developer.
Oh, the
I've met
poor
him.
woman. Oh, dear God.
The only downside for the characterization would be Ryan.
Yeah, he had nothing to do, like Adam says there.
Yeah. I mean, what do? He saw fire and he saw his friend being older. Okay, that's a bit of loneliness, but there was still nothing in there.
No.
For our friends in America and the other side, ITV, they've got a kind of campaign just now. I don't know if they're still doing it.
There's
but it's
another
the
side?
Yeah, the dark side, the dark universe. And they're doing this thing during the advert breaks where take a pause for thought, talk through your issues and speak to somebody close to you. This was the BBC's answer to that. And I thought the message was great. And that's the thing, is if you've got issues, don't keep them to yourself, talk. And then obviously the numbers were released for help groups at the end of the programme in the UK. But yourself, Siobhan, it just was tagged on at the end.
That's what it felt like. It's as if the programme finished when she got rid of the bad guys, and then suddenly we got a public information film.
Yeah. It's like editorial came in and said, oh, it has to be about this, but we've already written the script. Yeah. Well, tack it on.
Another draft, please, guys. All right, then. Shall we move on to the other thing we did?
Please do.
Yeah. How about the other two? We got Picard this week, too.
Uh,
It's better than last week.
Yeah, he's now on a ship.
He said engage.
Yeah.
That was it.
And he only pointed
Said
one finger at
engage.
us too.
Okay, well, here, think about this. I can't look at the entire show without thinking they got a Maul, they got a Zoe, they got a Kaylee. So who's going to be the River? Who's going to be the Simon? And where's good?
Who's got really,
Where's
really
the
bad
Jane?
hair to scare somebody?
Hugh's back, the Borg's back, but where's 7 and 9? Let's talk about it when 7 and 9's back.
No,
Yeah.
we're not going to be talking about it when 7 of 9's back because
I'm
Brian
pretty
will
sure
make
I
this
couldn't
very
be talking
X-rated.
about it when 7 and 9
No,
is back.
no. It was all right, but not too much happened. It was. It's very slow, this, and
But
too
you know
slow
what?
for what it is.
We've just said that Doctor Who's rushing it. Picard's maybe just running at a different pace and has got more time to build the story up. So I'm still hopeful, but
Well, it's ironic. I've actually been watching the supreme example of padding. How to pad a program and not just get away with it, but make the padding actually an integral part. Sapphire and Steel.
I love Sapphire and Steel.
I've just seen the first two. I'm on the third one now. They were a masterclass at padding. That railway station one. It just takes.
The one with the soldier.
Sorry, say again.
The one with the soldier.
Yeah.
The soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we
I
are on
probably-
Tontilla's ground, picking up gold and silver.
Do you know, I probably didn't watch. I've not watched it since it was first aired because I don't know if it was ever repeated or maybe Yuki Gold or somebody showed it. But I've always wanted to go back and watch it. You wouldn't recommend it then, Siobhan? It's slow.
It's slow, but it'll have you on the edge of your seat. As a result,
Especially that levitating cushion. I've got that memory will stay with me forever.
That's the one I'm on. That's the one I'm on. No, they're all on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Shouldn't be, but they are.
They are.
That might be interesting. How about having an Eddie check-in once he's seen each assignment?
I'm going to watch it this week. No, I know it's on YouTube. And for anybody that's on here that follows Professor Dave's Ark in Space, they're doing a little Avengers. They're doing a survey just now about your favourite companion for Steed. Vote Purdy. Purdy love. Not enough for Purdy. Go in there and vote for Purdy, please. Somebody should get murdered.
Hey, is it murder?
It is. It's murder.
Ah, murder. Talking to Jane Cobb. Right then. Mudders. Sorry, it doesn't matter. Right.
The muttered milk.
Okay, so what we'll do is homework, boys.
Let me write this down.
Okay,
Oh boy.
for next week, please. We'll do next week's Doctor Who. We finally meet Mad, Bad, and Dangerous to Know. Except, unlike Managra, it's just one person. Sapphire and Steel, Assignment 1.
On it. That will be my pleasure.
Brian, it's quite long, so I will understand.
I'll see if I can fit it in on lunches.
Okay, all right. But we'll do Assignment 1, and if that goes down okay, we'll do Assignment 2, which I warn you now is my favourite of them. Yes. So, that was good. We managed to segue beautifully into Sapphire and Steel. How did we get to Sapphire and Steel?
Vote
Padding.
Purdy.
Padding.
Yeah, we were talking about padding and Picard, weren't we? Yeah, I thought that was
Picard
slow.
has the brakes on. Doctor Who is going with the nitrous.
Yeah, and this Emma Peel bias has to end. I'm just reading the chat.
Peel, Mrs. Emma Peel. Right. Okay, shall we talk about the other thing? You see, we were supposed to be reviewing the first of the new Fourth Doctor box set during Series 18, weren't we, Eddie?
Yes, we were. Whoops.
What did you listen to, Eddie?
The Dark Universe with the 7th Doctor. I was close. It was a couple of doctors apart, but yeah. Apologies.
What did Brian and I have to do in emergency situation?
Very short.
Emergency listening.
We had to do
Yes.
emergency listening of a four-parter.
Apologies, guys, but to be fair, it was very good.
It was quite good, wasn't it?
It was good. 11 is a trip.
Yes, the 11. He's certainly one of the best things to come out of, best original things to come out of this Big Finish.
Oh,
And that's not to put anything else they've done down. But there's no wonder he keeps coming back. He's head and shoulders above everything else.
oh, he's the best. Have you heard of the term CLB? He is a creepy little bastard. He's brilliant.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. Right, so the seventh Doctor Who is coming to the end of his life. Oh, it's so sad. And Dorothy McShane, it's McShane, great, finally, not Gale, McShane, like the New Adventures had it, has teamed up with the 11. And the first time we see her, she's on Gallifrey killing a Chancery Guard. The story has a tendency to pop around its own narrative time zones. Sometimes you're leaping ahead, sometimes you're leaping back, and sometimes it's happening concurrently. So some of you may want to pay particular attention. I know a couple of people had a problem with the wrong Doctor, because there was 2 Colin Bakers. Not because there was 2 Colin, but look, you get the idea. So yeah, but I don't want to give too much away with this because it is a new one from Big Finish, but I do recommend you go and get this one because it is a corker. It is the Dark Doctor at his darkest, and yet Sylvester plays him with a very light touch. Actually, the glimpse of the powerful god that we used to see in things like Curse of Fenric and Ghostlight isn't really there. It's just Sylvester being happy. I've noticed that in a couple of other plays. He plays up to the script rather than sometimes goes dark. And I do like the Dark Seventh Doctor. Another vote for Emma Peel, by the way.
Oh, disgraceful.
Yeah.
Some bias.
But guys, what did you think? Tell us. Eddie, you start this time, please.
I absolutely love this. And again, apologies for not listening again. It's a good short attention span. But this, I listened to this all week in the car going to and from work and loved every minute of it. I'd never been introduced and had never heard of the 11, the Time Lord the 11. What a great premise. What happened if a Time Lord, as they regenerated, kept personas and the previous incarnations are there with them. They can't get rid of them. They've got those voices in their head. That was fantastic.
And all bar one of them are lunatics.
All bar one, number 8, who's a lovely guy, but he never lasted very long.
No.
So,
Nah.
So as this guy, as he regenerates, he's getting madder and mad. Apart from number 8, he's just becoming more and more mad, and he's got one sole reason d'etre, and that's to rule the universe, and nothing's going to stop him. And it's just, again, I just love that. Ace is now grown up, and the whole premise around Ace, with the reference back to the Sarah Jane Adventures, where it's mentioned that she's set up a charitable trust called A Charitable Earth. So we go there, and she's giving speeches, and she's talking about her travels. But this is a jaded, grown-up professor. Ace is no more. She's now going by a real name, and her experiences with the Doctor and the manipulation and basically being the Seventh Doctor has left a sour taste in her mouth. And we see the 11 coming, and he's going to take advantage of that. But then, is she still with the Doctor? I don't want to spoil it because it's just. How do you do this one justice without spoiling it? It's so many twists and turns.
The Doctor has a plan.
Yes, the Seventh Doctor's always got a plan.
And just when you think his plan's undone, you realise his plan being undone is part of the plan.
Yes, and it's the whole thing around. He's 2 steps in front of everybody, and apparently including these other beings from another universe who are basically all powerful and have done what everybody else every other Doctor Who enemies tried to do and become the kind of the soul force, the soul beings in their universe. Well, they've achieved it, and 11 wants to tap into their power.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go too further than that because
No. I think this is the start. I could be wrong. I think this. I'm being attacked by wires. I think this is the start of the 11th. Or certainly the first time the 11th met the Doctors. The Doctors met the 11. They don't specify it. I read that somewhere. Whether they'll have any earlier incarnations meeting, I don't know. I know that the Fourth Ravenous, the last part of that, is the end of the 11. So that there's almost a timeline there to follow, which is quite good.
Yeah.
Brian, in your emergency listen, what did you pick up?
Well, I like the fact that Ace is now the professor, and she's calling the doctor now instead of professor. It shows a little bit of growing up. And then she yells at him for leaving her alone for 20 years.
She's very, understandably disgusted by what he actually does at the end. It doesn't end well in that respect.
There were plenty of big bug-eyed monsters in this, though.
Yes, they were. And it's an interesting idea that this universe's Time Lords could do that. If they wanted to. That could be them.
Yes.
Yeah. This for the want of a few left turns, this could have been what their Time Lords become as well.
Surprised Rassilon didn't go for it.
Yeah.
Well, this is what would happen if, the Time War continued and Gallifrey wasn't time locked or sent to the alternate universe.
I get the feeling that that seemed like one of Rassilon's bits of wisdom. No, we won't go down that route. Whether that's actually... It's a tribute. It would probably be attributed to him. As well as practically everything else. I've just got this visions of Rassilon thinking he's a cat. And just wandering around Gallifrey's basic... the exhibits of science that he's invented. And peeing on them all and saying, this is of Rassilon, this is of Rassilon, this is of Rassilon. I always remember. I can't remember who wrote it. It could have been Nick Pegg, actually, back to Doctor Who Monthly back in the day, and we ended up with the pink and purple polka dot pajamas of Rassilon. That's hard to say. But yeah, it is a good one. Ace seems a little bit, again. The outburst at the end almost seems tacked on. There should have been more of it actually during the thing.
So, I got the whole thing around Ace had been bought into this that everything by the end was going to be neatly packaged up. The Doctor knows what was going to happen and everything was going to be sorted out by the end. And again, I'm not going to spoil the ending, but it's not. And she's disgusted, and
I'd have liked a reaction to that before he'd finally succeeded in what he was doing, rather than have it once everything's done and dusted, then have the reaction. That's what it felt like to me. I'd have liked some conflict before then about this denouement and his plan, and yet him still having to do it.
Do you think she'd bought into it though? Because this whole thing around 11 thinks that he's manipulating her, but she's manipulating 11, and the Doctor's manipulating them all. That was just as you get more and more into it. It was just there was bits I got lost and I had to re-listen to, but this was great. It was Sylvester sounds as though he's having a blast.
Yes,
Ace,
yeah, it does, and he's one of the very few Big Finish Doctors that doesn't sound older.
No, he still sounds exactly the same. It was I've started listening to Tom Baker's and. Adric doesn't sound like Adric anymore, and Tom sounds a bit older, and Lala sounds okay, but...
I caught a husk in her voice. First time ever listening to that one. We'll talk about that one next week.
Another thing.
Yeah.
But can I just shout out to Mark Bonner? That guy is amazing.
Isn't he?
He can just switch between characters, and there's a documentary audio about it making of tagged at the end. He did all the voices.
Yep.
Including incarnations, and there was no trickery. It wasn't a case of cut and that get yourself head into it, start again. He just spouted out those characters and changed voices like that. I mean, that was amazing.
Yep.
What a performance!
It's a very rare actor that can do that.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. And like you say, it just matches the premise perfectly. You know, they brought in other actors to have the voices in his head. It's him speaking. It's just beautiful. Yeah, no, hats off to Mark Bonner for that. So,
I want to see more.
You what?
I want to see more. So obviously, he's the new Koenig in Space 1999.
He is, yes.
I'm going to treat myself because that's brought me into that. But with that, I'll start with the gushy nonsense about Mark Bonner and I'll shut up.
Okay, I'm going to show a blank screen for a little bit. It's something to do, isn't it? And it's better than looking at the three of us, if I'm honest. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that. I would agree.
Certainly safer.
Yeah. So, bit of a middle of the road thing for Doctor Who this week, and yeah, we enjoyed Dark Universe. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, thumbs up for recognition.
Next week, we'll be looking at, oh dear me, Mary Shelley's Night of Terror, and then I wonder if they're going to actually mention the Big Finish stuff, because Mary Shelley was a very brief companion to Paul McGann. Interesting. Who can tell? And we'll be looking at the Fourth Doctor, that first Fourth Doctor story, name escapes me, and Assignment 1 for Sapphire and Steel. That was fun. Did you enjoy that, boys?
Are we off?
Yeah. Wait, no. We're still here, love.
No, we're still on.
We're still here. That's Neddy, by the way. That's my bear cub. Ned, hello. Yes. Hello.
Well, if we're still on.
We are still on. Vote for. Oh God, no. All right.
Vote for Purdy. Okay.
Don't forget to contact Professor Dave's Ark in Space. I can't remember what the bloody web's email address is. I put it on the last show. Hang on, I'll find it. They're doing a thing about Pertwee. We're recording it next Saturday.
He's just after telling me not to be a Gareth Hunt.
Is he? Hang on a second. Oh, you should know that Dr. Sinister, spinster of this dictatorship, a rather unusual episode of Doctor Who tonight. I liked it a lot. Which is fair enough. Who was I looking for? David. There we go.
So Sinister liked an episode with a dark, sinister character that's all powerful and can. Yeah, that makes sense.
Hang on a second. There we go. Right, it's Prof Deis, PROFDAIS @hotmail.com. He still uses Hotmail. Send me your thoughts on Pertwee and Claws of Axos in particular, because that's what I've been asked on the show to have a little look at. I'm rather looking forward to that, hanging out with Dave in a little bit again. Had a lovely day with them once years ago, back when they were courting, and a little bit had come over, and there's a group of us went up to the Bluebell Railway steam train line. The museum there and everything else like that. And we were on the railway, up, went to the museum, came back, and they set up a marquee on the side near the station. And they had an old Victorian-style music hall. And showing what a small world it is. They did have the Queen there, Queen Victoria, who we thought was a werewolf.
Wait, she isn't?
Well, it's unknown, really, is it? But it turns out that I know a couple up over at the cafe. There's a little group of us that have cups of coffee together in the evening, and Didn't realise it, but this woman was actually the Queen Victoria who was there all those years ago. It was small world. Very, very small world. It was a lovely day out. It really was. So I'm looking forward to spending some time with them. That's going to be fun. Yeah, I think that's about it, isn't it? Good luck to all those going to Gallifrey.
Yeah.
If flights don't get cancelled, Purcell. Oh, hang on. You're not going till the morning anyway, are you?
I can be fine with tomorrow. Be fine in the morning.
Well, yeah. I mean, it hit us after it hit you, to be fair. Because you were saying last night it was a little bit blowy.
Oh, Scotland always gets it first, though.
Yeah. And we got the tail end of it down here, and it's pretty yucky down here, quite frankly. Apparently a surfer's gone missing, which is sad, but at the same point you have to say, what the hell were you
What's
doing?
the surfer doing out in this weather? Yeah.
Gonna catch the ultimate wave. Dear me.
Unfortunately, it sounds as if he did.
Mm.
Sorry, I'm going all Laurie here. It was like, we're all doomed. But I'll try my best not.
Have you heard the story of the old empty barn? There was nothing in it. Sorry. We are not playing On My Way to Gallifrey. Oh, God. On My Way to Gallifrey is an old... It's a twist on a party game that we used to play at parties back in the very early 90s, very, very drunk. That was the night I saw Cornell having his toes sucked. I'll let you make of that what you will.
Paints a picture.
No.
Oh, it was nothing like that, to be fair. No. Ooh. Now I see what he means about knowing where all the bodies are buried. Ah. Okay. I always thought he was talking a load of nonsense. Right. Sorry, I'm keeping that one to myself. I'll explain later. Yeah, so, anybody got anything interesting happening this week? Good.
I'm going to read
Valentine's Day is next Friday.
Another day of utter loneliness.
Oh, Siobhan.
Giving up and all that. Ah, dear. 20 years, you know. So lonely. Anyway, yes, what about you, Brian? You doing anything for Valentine's Day, seeing you've brought it up, or is this a really subtle hint to somebody?
This is more of Singles Awareness Week.
Yes, be nice to us. Eddie, you're not around next Saturday, are you? Is it Saturday or Sunday you're not around?
No, I'll be here Saturday. I'm going out for my birthday, which is actually the Monday after, but my wife's taking me out on Saturday now, so...
And maybe ask how old you'll be?
49.
Child.
I know. I don't get that often.
Child. Mere child.
It is not often I am the baby of a group.
Yeah, and you can
I'm
shut
so
up. I
happy to
hate
be
you.
here.
Oh, God. Vile fetus. Right, so we're off. We should be back at 9 p.m. next Sunday. Again, my apologies, but cooking took longer than I thought it was going to take. Everything's a bit wonky on the cooker, and I'd forgotten. Anyway, so, yeah. Have you anything else to say, or are we saying goodbye?
I could say vote Purdy again, but I think I'm outvoted, and so I give in. They win.
I don't know. I'm
Peel
thinking
wins.
about. Hang on a second. What have we got?
Oh, I know what we could say.
Kathy Gale.
Vote Purdy again.
Do you know what? I probably would agree with you, vote Purdy. I loved her character. I loved her character in that. She was easily the equal of them both.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I like that. And on that crashing bombshell, I'm going to fuck up a video transition. Say goodbye, boys.
Goodbye, boys.
See you next week, folks. Remember, Saturday night, we're doing the Marvel RPG, and we're streaming it on here on Twitch, 8 p.m. GMT. Ta-da.
what you want, for all that you believe. It's right to fight for what we want, to live the way we please. As long as we have done our best, then no one can do